All right, so today we're headed to Italy. But maybe not the Italy you're picturing in your head. We're gonna peel back that beautiful, ancient surface to find a country that's just buzzing with modern energy. It's time to go beyond the postcard.
Seriously, take a second. When I say Italy, what's the first thing that pops into your mind? What do you see? Maybe what do you taste? For most of us, right, it's a few very specific, very romantic images.
Yep, exactly that. You're probably thinking of the Colosseum at sunset, or a perfect bowl of pasta, or maybe the sound of a Vespa zipping down a tiny cobblestone street. And look, those things are iconic for a reason. But they're only a tiny piece of the real story.
So, what if I told you that behind that classic, beautiful facade, there's a completely different Italy? One that's way more innovative, way more connected, and honestly, just more surprising than you could ever imagine. That's the story we're going to dig into today.
Okay, first things first. Let's tackle this idea that Italy is kind of stuck in the past. Because it turns out, the country's actually a hotbed for some seriously futuristic stuff. And a lot of this innovation is happening in places you would just never, ever expect.
Just look at this thing. It's a compact wind turbine, designed by an Italian startup specifically for cities. Now, the real genius here is its AI brain. It's constantly feeling the wind, right, and adjusting its blades in real time. So it's not just a windmill. It's a super smart, adaptive energy system that's quiet enough to sit right on a rooftop.
And get this, the results are incredible. This thing generates a whopping 60% more energy than the older models. That's a huge leap in efficiency. It actually makes clean energy a real, practical option, even in crowded cities.
But, innovation isn't always about flashy AI. Sometimes it's about absolutely perfecting a craft. Take Italy's valve and faucet industry. I know, doesn't sound sexy, but it's a global powerhouse, bringing in over 9.5 billion euros. And we're not just talking about your kitchen sink here. This is high-precision engineering that powers infrastructure all over the world. In fact, about 2/3 of it gets exported.
And this kind of innovation, it's also changing the economy from the ground up. I mean, you'd think e-commerce is all about big cities, right? But in Italy, a full 60% of small business sellers on platforms like eBay are in non-urban areas. A lot of them are in the south, turning their amazing local crafts into global businesses, all without leaving their hometowns.
And the impact on real people? It's huge. This whole digital shift supports something like 35,000 jobs. For so many artisans, it's literally a lifeline. It means they can stay in their communities, keep local traditions alive, and not have to pack up and move to a big city to make a living.
So you see, this new energy, it isn't about erasing the past. Not at all. It's about reimagining it. Italy is finding these incredibly creative ways to use its rich history as a launch pad for the future.
A perfect example of this is something called urban trekking. So instead of being herded onto a crowded, scheduled bus tour, this is all about exploring cities on foot. It's slower, yeah, but it's also way more intimate and sustainable. You're not just seeing the city, you're feeling it. A walk through Siena becomes a real connection to its living history.
And that same idea applies to food, of course. I mean, we've all heard of balsamic vinegar from Modena, but listen to this stat. 62% of Italians say they want to have a tourism experience related to it, but only 10% have ever actually done it. That gap? That's a massive untapped opportunity to connect people with the actual producers, with the real story behind that incredible flavor. And it's not just about food. Up in Lombardy, a region known for its industry and design, businesses are doing something amazing. They're turning their own spaces, warehouses, headquarters, even old factories, into public art galleries. They're literally blending their industrial past with contemporary culture and creating this whole new creative ecosystem. How cool is that?
Which brings us to our third big idea, the social fabric that really holds this country together. And I'm talking about something that goes way beyond the usual stereotypes of big families and pasta dinners. There's this deep, organized culture of solidarity at work.
And you want a proof? Look no further. In 2024, Italy recorded over 3 million blood and plasma donations. Just let that number sink in for a second. And this isn't some government mandate. This is a massive voluntary effort by regular, everyday people. To put that into perspective, that makes Italy the second highest donating nation in the entire world, per person, just after Greece. That is an absolutely extraordinary national achievement, and it's something you almost never hear about. But what's really remarkable is the why behind it all. The entire system is voluntary. It's unpaid. It's built on a shared sense of community and responsibility, not on getting paid. It's a system built on solidarity,
not on transactions. And you see this spirit of connection pop up in other really creative ways. There's this thing called the Food Express. It's an initiative that uses high-speed trains to link the far south of Italy with the far north. On the train, screens showcase the food and culture from both regions. It turns a long train ride into this journey of shared discovery, helping to bridge what has been, historically, a pretty big divide.
So, after all that, where does this leave us? Well, we've seen incredible innovation, we've seen tradition being completely reimagined, and we've seen this profound sense of community. This is not the static, museum-like country we might have pictured. It's a nation that is absolutely in motion.
So the real story of Italy today? It seems to be one of hyper-local innovation, the kind that powers everything from city turbines to village e-commerce shops. It's a story where tradition isn't some dusty relic, but the actual launch pad for brand new ideas. And right at the heart of it all is this incredible power of community, connecting every single corner of the country.
And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If we can find this much energy and innovation behind a facade as famous as Italy's, what kind of hidden stories are just waiting to be discovered right where you live? What happens when we all decide to look beyond our own postcards?